Welcome back to Star Wars from Scratch. We got oriented with up and down and the keyboard and in just the general look of music. Now let's actually see how we can find notes. We also learned A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Remember the three black keys? 1, 2, 3. After the second black key, you find your A. You can kind of map out all the keys from there. We only use A through G. Now we're going to take a look at kind of getting oriented on the music itself. Here, we use different symbols for different hands. This is generally the symbol for notes in the right hand or the upper portion of the keyboard. Okay? And this is the symbol for the lower portion of the keyboard. Let's take a look at them in depth a little bit. Okay? This symbol over here is called the treble clef. Another name for this clef actually is the G clef. Okay? The G clef is so named because, believe it or not, this used to be an old-fashioned way of drawing a G. Kind of looks funny that way, doesn't it? Okay? Now, one more thing you want to take a look at. It's not just G for its own namesake, but it's actually G to show us where the note G is. Okay? So take a look at the belly of this clef. See where this is circled around? It's circling around that line over here. Okay? That means any notes that fall on that line, that would be the equivalent of G. So remember we were finding our notes? 3 black keys. After the second black key, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Guess what? That's where this G over here is. Okay? So for orienting yourself on the piano, when you see this clef, you can find this G is close to the middle of the piano, and that's where you are. Okay? So from here, let's take a look and see if we can find the rest of these notes. Now, notes in general are either going to fall on the line or on the spaces. Okay? There's only 2 positions that notes can be drawn on, lines or spaces. So this was G. Once we got to G, we reset the alphabet and go up to A. And then the very next note is, kind of lands where this note is, B. Okay? So our first note in the bottom of the right hand is going to be a B. Now, there is a qualifier in this piece. There are actually 2 of them. The first qualifier we're going to take a look at is right over here. The belly of this qualifier happens to fall on the same note as B, and this little thing is called a flat. Okay? Let's get rid of this for just a second. What a flat does is it lowers a note. So this B becomes B flat. All right? Think of a flat tire. When your tire gets flat, the car goes down, or your bicycle wheel goes down. Instead of playing that, that'll be a B flat. All right? So we can, even regardless of the B flat, we can continue counting. So B flat, this next note is on the next line. So we have to skip the space note C, and that helps us to arrive on D, the next note. So B flat, C, D, okay? Skip the space over here. E brings us to F, okay? So we have B flat, D, F, okay? Now we're kind of running out of lines, aren't we? So let's see what happens. Here, that brings us to the next space, but now we have no more lines. So what we do to continue climbing up is to create a kind of a stepladder system. We create extra mini lines, okay? We call these ledger lines, and you can see that over here. All right? Now this ledger line happens to be falling just so. The next line note would be A, okay? But if you'll notice, this note actually sits on top of that A line. So we actually go up a little bit further to B, but remember, our qualifier makes the B's now turn into B flat, goes down, or to the left if you remember your orientation, okay? So we've got a B flat on the bottom here, and a B flat on the top note over here. So B flat, D, F, a little bit further up to this B flat here. If you notice, you got 2 B flats. So that's a good place. You can actually kind of start your chord that way if you like. All right? Find the two B flats, find the two notes in the middle, put them all together, and that's the opening chord in your right hand. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson. We're going to look at putting together the notes in the left hand in our next lesson.